In a world crying out for a top 10 show, John Roca and Matt Nost are here. So grab your assigned seat, sit back, and enjoy this week's Top 10. Brought to you by the Schmoes Know Network. Take it away, boys.
Welcome, everybody, to this week's Thunderdome.
Thunderdome.
I'm John Roca.
I am Matt Nost.
This is the Top 10 podcast, Thunderdome. And we had two really good, what do you want to say? I don't want to say really good, but two very underground, beloved 80s films amongst certain sections of 80s film fans.
Because you asked me, what do you want to do this week? And I just sent back Real Genius versus whatever 80s movie you want.
Yeah.
And you peppered out like two or three, and I thought they all were going to beat Real Genius, which is obviously the winner. I thought they were all. Seriously, going into it, I was like, you know what? I just want to put my choice out there. Maybe, fuck it. You had Better Off Dead,
I did.
Revenge of the Nerds,
And Back to School.
I thought Better Off Dead was the closest.
I thought for sure, well, it was winning initially.
Yeah.
And then Real Genius really just took over the situation and brought it home. It was a big bag of popcorn I had to eat at the end.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. I'm so excited about the winner, though.
Matt Nost.
Of my two choices. It's obviously my choice.
This podcast. It's your...
So you watched it for this?
I did. I watched it again. I hadn't seen it in 20 years, probably at least.
Nothing?
Nothing. Not a damn thing.
God.
I don't understand how anyone loves this
film. I watched
film.
it last night. Loved every second of it.
I don't get it.
Absolutely.
So...
Not even kidding. All the cliched things in it, I think they do it so perfectly that it is a picture perfect. There's three separate music montages that is an 80s cliche.
Right.
But theirs, they do it at a very smart place, which is when they're doing all the science and the lasers and whatnot. They're just moving this because it's ultimately a movie and we're here to entertain. So they just gloss right over that, but they still do it in an interesting, great montagey way. It's not some dude just training. It's them technically mentally training and whatever, building, and then there's after the end of the first one, there's a fall, and then it builds, falls, build, win.
Right.
There's your formula. They slowly get better, and they coalesce as a group.
It's just not my jam, man.
Fucking love it.
I think people could see other 80s films that they don't like that we all love, right? And see the montage situations and feel the same way I did watching the montage situations of Real Genius. I thought they were vapid. There was nothing to base it on. No foundation at all. Bored me to tears. The movie hits every wrong note for me that you can hit of an 80s film, which is why I didn't enjoy it the first time I saw it, and I didn't enjoy it again. And I can't explain it. Like Better Off Dead, I bet there's a bunch of people who hate Better Off Dead.
See, Better Off Dead to me is that one is a very particular...
It really, it's certain...
It is.
Kind of comedy that you have to like. Yeah.
And it kind of catches me at times and doesn't. It's a hit and miss for me. I like aspects of it, and other parts it's just like, why is this character so gross? You know what I mean? Like these people that float in and out of that story sometimes are just disgustingly gross. Yeah. Whether it's their personality, their physical traits, whatever the case is. And it's just like, why was this the choice? And it takes me out of the story itself, whereas I think all the casting is great in Real Genius.
You're out of your mind. Oh my God.
It is.
You're out of your mind.
The girl that lives next door.
Yeah, the nutty one?
Yeah. I think she's fantastic.
She's playing one note the whole movie.
That's the thing, though. You don't need that character to do anything more than one note. What is that, a 93-minute movie?
She's going to make a sweater for a guy she's
She's a nut. What do you want? This is the height of 80s movies.
Oh.
I'm just saying in that they're achieving nothing.
Yeah.
Except pure, we're just trying to entertain. They do it in the guise of a quote-unquote smarter story, but it's not. It's frivolous. It's 80s. It's like it's so many good cliches are all wrapped into one for me.
It's so fun to go back to it because you forget how people lived in the 80s, right?
I know.
You forget the block. Everything was had jagged edges and squares, and just the whole design of the film is very, in a way, is very distant and cold. You know, in terms of the design of the rooms, you know, even at the beginning when they're talking, like those scientists are all talking to each other, it's kind of like that way. And then when
are you talking about the government officials?
Yeah, the government officials. And then when the little kid shows up or the 15-year-old kid shows up to see the experiment they're running, everything is like kind of cold and block and a laser and all this kind of jazz. It's just interesting.
Well, let's see, like in that scene, what I focused on, is
which scene?
The opening with the government agents.
Yeah.
There's what is there like 8 in that room?
Yes.
There's one black guy.
Yes, there is.
He's the one that objects. And then they all casually laugh after they just, basically give an execution order over the phone.
Yeah.
And it's just
essentially drones before they were drones.
Yeah, I love it, though. It's just like the epitome of evil white guy. It's great. But they're not going for like a stupid, like cartoonish.
No, right.
But what doesn't make sense is later on, so that guy, that colonel or whatever he is in the army, but he's in the suit.
Ed Lauder.
Yeah.
Great actor. Great character actor.
They show up at Hathaway's house halfway through, and that's his daughter. So Val Kilmer, a.k.a. Chris Knight, is talking to her about basically like, it literally says like, I want to fuck you in essence. And it's right in front of the dad, and the dad had casually ordered the murder of someone earlier in the fucking movie, and it's just like, there's no way this guy ever takes this. Watching this snot-nosed little kid, like, he fucking murders guys for lunch.
Right.
And there's no way, like, and just right in front of his daughter's throwing heat right back.
She really is.
Yeah, go ahead. Well, nailing your 6-inch spike through a board with your penis.
With a penis.
Your dad is 6 inches away.
Who talked like that back in the 80s?
And I don't know.
I didn't know any women who
that
talked
line
like
is very jarring, and you can tell it's like a close cut. They had to do so many different takes of her.
Probably.
Because you can't see, I don't think, any other actors in the shot.
No.
Because nobody would sit there long enough. I mean, she only has 3 lines in it.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
But yeah, you make a good point. That guy would have demolished.
There are points where the movie does fall apart. It's like, all right.
Points? What do you mean there are points where it falls apart?
Well, what else you got?
You mean the beginning, the middle, and the end?
Yeah, I mean,
for me, it's just the kid is interesting, but then you have the weird mom and dad, which are they kind of are reminiscent of Anthony Michael Hall's mom and dad in Weird Science.
80s cliche.
Right, you're right.
Parents.
Total 80s cliche. But then Atherton is such a weird choice because Atherton is such a jerk off face that it's hard to buy him as this kind of like TV personality.
Yeah, I know.
Like, it just doesn't work.
Well, I mean, the opening thing they shoot him, seeing him shoot is basically the lead up to that is he's promising he can do all these things to the guys at the liaison. So he's full of shit.
Right.
And then they go to him shooting a show about the colon. So you're doing a show about shit.
Right.
Thereby, yes, you are completely full of shit because you can't deliver any of this, and you're fucking, basically riding these kids until they die.
Yeah.
It's fucking brutal.
But there's no arc for Kilmer either. I mean, I guess you could argue that, well, he finally buckles down on the montage and starts to learn stuff. But
he doesn't. No, he applies himself once it's basically he's been forced to.
Right. So what's the message of the movie? Fuck around.
There's no. Welcome to the 80s. We're just here to entertain. That's what I'm saying. It works on if you just tune your brain like off on that subjectivity and just go, you know what? This was made at a time where these things were just like, we're pumping them out. We make money on this.
Yeah, but because the thing that I liked about Better Off Dead and Back to School and Revenge of the Nerds, the message is be proud of who you are. Like, embrace who you are. Be okay with who you are. Be okay with being different. In here in Weird Science, it's kind of, he's different and he's interesting. He's different from the beginning. But when he like buckles down, it's to fit in the society. And why is he doing it? It's so he can graduate and get whatever he's supposed to get
a job that he was promised.
A job. Why does this guy who's been like messing around? It's like Van Wilder to a degree, right? There's like shades of Van Wilder. Well, Van Wilder's like obviously a bastard child of this guy in a way, and as a film, this character. Right?
Okay, sure.
Because he's
it's
ruling.
It's
college.
Like degrees of separation. It's a Kevin Bacon. Like, sure, maybe it's within 3 rungs of him.
Right? Because he's ruling the college and he's messing with the girls when he wants, and he's like creating stuff like the ice.
Yeah, but I mean, he explains why he's like that because one day he realized that he could be Laszlo, where his brain just breaks.
Yeah.
They're looking and saying, like, I found the answer to this question, and those answers are supposed to be the answers to everything.
Right.
And life is about that, plus the philosophy of what does it mean.
Right.
Because you have no fucking idea. No matter what you convince yourself of, 2 weeks later, there's another study that comes out and says, no, that's completely wrong.
Matt knows you can't have it both ways. You can't say turn off your brain and then tell me this intelligent stuff that he's doing within the character.
Well, I'm just saying.
No.
You can't, because you have to look at it from the context of they made those choices because it would just slow the story down, and they're ultimately just trying to sell tickets.
Yes.
So they'll give you glimpses of that, but it can't impede this slow, inevitable progress.
Yeah.
Like Atherton has to get his comeuppance, and it's a great
He does.
stupid way. The house gets blown up with popcorn.
Yeah, and he lays that groundwork real.
Yeah, early on. I hate
the smell
that.
of popcorn.
Just out of nowhere. It's such a jarring. You would already know that. You guys have been hanging out next to each other for 4 years.
Yeah.
The popcorn would have come up.
Yes, of course, but multiple times.
Well, if you showed up at his house before, popcorn has come up in a discussion.
Of course.
Yeah.
I'm sure just talking about
Just
movies,
saying.
just random conversation. Of course, it would come
Teacher, student, you've been around. You got to build up trust before they're just allowed to show up at your house. So you've gotten other discussions as well. Exactly. Popcorn's on the table. Is what I'm saying.
It was an interesting film to revisit because, like I said, it's been at least 20 years, probably 25 since I've seen
I love it, man.
And I know I respect the fact that you like this film, and I tried, and I sat there like in my breaks at Harry Potter. I watched it over 2 breaks between my sets, 45 minutes each. Watch the thing, and I could not, and I made sure that nothing was bothering me. I went out, sat by myself, like outside, so I could see it clearly, listen to it clearly, because I was like, what does Matt love about this film that I just did not get?
So much.
I just could not jump into it. And I liked, I loved, it's great to see Kilmer. People forget, man. Kilmer had this great run. And
yeah,
he was
comedic
in his
chops.
Great looking guy, confident guy, effortlessly confident on screen, and very charming. And people forget, man. He was so great.
Take a step back. No, I was wrong. Let's take a step forward. Now take a step back. Now take a step forward, and we're doing the cha-cha-cha. It just starts just out of nowhere, but it's a great delivery because if you just focus in on his face, he keeps it straight. He's so in the character. He keeps it straight until right when he knows, like a kid almost.
Yeah.
Here's where I drop the punchline. So his face starts to change just a little bit as he goes into the cha-cha. It's just perfect. Sure. Like he just sold so many. It's so weird that's what I grew up with. And then to see him morph into like the Top Gun after that and then Batman and yada, yada, yada. But it's just like, wow, dude, I fell in love with you when you were just, a guy that had all those attributes that come out later, but could fucking just sling a joke.
But that's what I mean. Like from Top Secret to Real Genius to Top Gun. This is the progression of Val Kilmer. You see him embracing. He had this nice little run, you could argue, where he was really kind of this alternate leading man who possibly had a real future coming down if he had stayed a little more.
He was kind of always secondary.
He kind of was, right? He never quite.
They gave him a couple shots, like The Saint. Yeah. I wasn't a fan of.
I like The Saint. It's a guilty pleasure.
I got a buddy that loves it.
Yeah, it's a guilty pleasure.
And we share taste on like 90% of other things, and that's just one of his like, hey, yeah, man, I watched that. I got bored twice watching it.
But they gave him The Doors. He was great in The Doors.
Yeah.
But the film itself overall wasn't 100% great, but he was great in it.
Now, a movie I know you don't like, Tombstone, he is...
Well, it's not that I don't like it. I don't think it's as great as everyone else thinks it is. That's what I would say.
I think we talked about it before. It's fucking, it's a comic book.
It's a fast food meal.
It is. Yeah. But his portrayal of Doc Holliday that's the definitive to me.
Absolutely.
I have no idea why Doc Hollywood would ever do this Southern plantation owner now out in the West kind of... Yeah. Just Georgian, lilting, fucking from on high kind of speech. Everything's slow. It's at his own pace. It's great.
Yeah.
Kilmer, he's great.
You could argue that film was his last gasp as an actor, as a real notable actor. Like, I think it's 94, Tombstone, 92 or 94. It's like the last guy. And after that, it's just like these straight to DVDs or these small little appearances in films. But he kind of, I feel like he fell off the grid a little bit. Oh, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Sorry.
Yeah.
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is probably the last time I think that he really kind of had a great time. But between Tombstone and Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, you'd be hard-pressed to find a fantastic performance from him.
I'd have to look at his filmography. Yeah, but when he came back in MacGruber, that was the first thing I'd seen him in a while where I was like, you know what, Val Kilmer, have another run.
Yeah.
Have, I guess, from what I've ever heard is have a little humility maybe on this one.
Yeah.
But I don't know you, so maybe all the stories I've heard are all bullshit.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of them.
Yeah.
So maybe he has the perspective of I didn't get to work as much as I'd like to. I missed on a bunch of opportunities because of whatever reason.
Yeah.
People give him the shot now, but... Yeah, I got a soft spot for Val Kilmer.
Yeah, I never not believe him. And no matter what I've seen him in like flipping channels when you'll watch him in some terrible straight to DVD films, but he himself is always kind of committed to what he's doing. He's like kind of that Nicolas Cage vibe to him. He commits to what he's doing. Whether you want to accept it or not is your decision, but he's committed as an actor to what he's doing.
So you're saying he's the anti-Bruce Willis? Because Bruce Willis now just does straight to DVD, and all I ever hear is like, nah, it's not. He's just like, he's phoning it in.
Yeah.
Just straight. I haven't watched any of them. Oh. Just any of these straight to like fucking. He was in a movie with Ryan Phillippe. What? It just, I don't know. I've seen it a few times, like walking past a place, like one of those red boxes or something.
Sure.
Just happen to see it, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Bruce Willis did I've never even heard of this movie.
I'm always freaked out when I see De Niro in one of those straight-to-DVD films because I go, wait, what? De Niro does straight-to-DVD films? Fuck. It's heartbreaking, man. The cast is interesting in this film because Kilmer and Atherton are really the only notable. Well, Lauder kept working as a character actor, but Kilmer and Atherton are really the only notable. Like that kid, he occasionally shows up and stuff. Obviously he's a man now, but like he was in Frost versus Nixon. He played a small part in that.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. He's one of. I think he's one of Nixon's guys. There,
Wow,
or
really?
he's
I'd have
one,
to go
or
back
he's one
and
of the
see
TV guys. It's one of the two, and I can't remember specifically which one he was. But he had a first and last name, so he must be someone historical in the film.
Okay.
But yeah, so he didn't work a lot. Obviously, sporadic. The girl stopped working after '94. The love interest. And Atherton still will occasionally show up and stuff, but it's really, really rare. So
Guy plays one of the best dicks.
He really is. I mean,
Plays
Ghostbusters,
one of the best dicks. Yeah.
Everything. He's just so good at it. Die Hard, obviously. He's really good at it, And people forget in the 70s, he kind of was a burgeoning leading man.
You can see it. He's got the
70s
look.
Films, yeah.
But now, I've grown up with him. He's always been what he is.
Yeah.
Now, the parts that he gets.
Right.
So it's harder for me to visualize him as anything but. But an actor could be anything you want.
I wouldn't be surprised if they had offered him the principal part in Breakfast Club. I wouldn't have been surprised at all.
As the janitor?
No, as the principal.
The principal. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I thought you meant like the first lead, the principal actor kind of thing.
Oh, no. As the principal.
And I was like, the principal, like adult actor? Oh, shit, which one?
Yeah.
It's only one of two. So I didn't even use the one principal that I've just been prompt with.
Right. No, he's assistant principal, right?
Whatever it is. Yeah, the guy that shows up and runs detention on a Saturday.
Yeah.
The shit job. Nobody wants it.
Everybody. You get the horns. So anyway.
Nothing overall. What about... God, really? Because I love all the build of it, the jokes they pepper in. Kent is such a great
he's such a massive dick. Right?
He is. He's great, but he's a great 80s dick.
Perfect 80s dick.
And it's like it's a high school movie set in a college.
Right.
Because they all manage to know each other, even though by all appearances, is a huge campus. And they're just the science division of it. When they play that phone call over the cafeteria, they all start laughing and looking right at him. And I guess you could figure it out because he is 15 and everybody would kind of know him. But at the same time, it's not like you've all interacted with him. You know his voice. So when that comes on, you instantly assume.
Yeah.
I know that one was like, so that basically it's just a high school movie.
Yeah.
Set in a college.
Well, that's what bothered me, too, a little bit. Because in that scene, are you going to tell me a bunch of fucking science nerds are going to laugh at another science nerd calling their mom police?
I know.
Fucking police.
I know.
What leg do you have to stand on, you fucking nerds?
Well, just in that maybe now that they're all adults, that's something they left behind where he's still a kid.
All right, yeah, okay.
That does ask a lot of
me.
me.
I suppose.
It's just not...
I think they'd be more sympathetic than,
So do I.
Yeah.
I agree. It fails.
Yeah.
It fails pretty brutally right there.
But the point is to make him... Right, to hurt him and to make him more sympathetic.
Well, you got to knock the character down a little bit more.
Kilmer to help him.
Exactly, and then he's got to lift himself up too and embrace it and move forward, and it gives him part of the motivation to keep pushing himself.
Yeah.
He has to keep doing it. He gets caught in the pool, even though he just fell in, and Atherton finds him.
Right, gets yelled at by Atherton.
Yeah, exactly. And then just whatever. He's got to have those little stumbling blocks. Yeah. Just like Chris Knight has to get stymied. You're not going to graduate. You're not going to get the degree you want. Right. Oh, really? Well, fuck you. And then they come together. And the creepy guy,
Laszlo's comes through.
How great is this stupid tunnel? Like, what? There's a false wall that leads into this steam chamber underneath. Like, why would the industrial section of a campus be right below its dorms? That doesn't make a lick of sense. Because every campus I've ever been to, that's always somewhere else, away from everything, and pumps in. It's a small city. Right. So why would you put that in the basement, especially in the science and engineering department? Yeah. They can't find a better spot for this. The people, all you need to do is call the architecture school, and we can fucking zone this out, build the plans, figure out all the materials, and we're done.
See?
We're done.
You just undercut the whole film right there.
Yeah, really? I'm just saying. But it's stupid they put it in. It's like, this deep, chamber to create this great character of a kid that snapped, and this is what could happen to you. Yeah. You're Phantom of the Opera. You're living below the opera house. Exactly. Screaming up at the people above. And he's in a sweepstakes, and eventually, now that part does creep me out when the girl that he marries interacts with Mitch. Yeah. When she finds him, and the line, ever since I became an adult, it's always bothered me. She's like, I've been waiting 3 years to do this. And he's 15, which means when he was 12, you were fantasizing about this?
That's a little uncomfortable.
It is, a little bit. And you still make out with him, and you want to have sex, and he's 15.
Yeah.
Only in, what is this, 1985?
Right.
Could this still be...
It was so fun. There was a little run of those films, too, right? My Private Tutor, or My Tutor.
What's the one, Rio, with Michael Caine?
Oh, yeah, Rio. Yeah,
Where he
Blame It on Rio.
sleeps- yeah.
Right, with Demi Moore or something like that.
Wait, I think it's
Or
the other
Demi
girl, not
Moore's
Demi's
friend. Yeah.
Who is the daughter of his friend.
Right, who is Joseph Bologna, I think. Yeah.
Like,
Oh, my
oh, so you sleep with the underage, and that's okay, and that got that international release.
Yeah, people liked that film.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so
a different time. But just to hear her say, I've been waiting for this for 3 years, and be like, he was 12. He was 12.
He wasn't even getting a heart.
15 is still creepy. A little
really
bit.
is.
For what I'm assuming is someone in, I don't know, her late 20s.
Yeah.
That's my guess. Probably, though, like an early 30s actress.
Yeah.
Saying this?
You talking about the blonde? Or the other one?
Yeah, the blonde that ends up marrying Laszlo at the end.
Right.
At that point, I've been waiting 10 years for this guy.
Yeah. The one that hits on Kilmer, is that the same girl, the one that hits on Kilmer at the beginning?
No. That's
the one in the glasses? That's a different girl.
That's a different. Hold on.
The Professor Kilmer comes in.
Yeah, no, that's the girl that asks if he can nail the 6-inch spike through a board of wood with his penis.
No, that's a different girl.
That sleeps with Atherton? That's the same girl.
No, that's the same girl that sleeps with Atherton. But I mean, at the beginning of the film, when Kilmer shows up and the guy's like, "You're Chris Knight? Are you Chris Knight? Are you sure you're Chris Knight?" And he makes fun.
I hope so. I'm wearing his underwear.
Yes.
Yeah.
That girl. She's the professor. She's a student. Is she a teacher or a student?
No. That's a girl that was showing him around like some private sector job.
So that's Patty D'Arbonville.
Okay.
Who was in The Sopranos. Remember her in The Sopranos? She had like a season or two in The Sopranos.
As what character?
She was a heavier girl with a blonde, and she got killed in her apartment, in her house. She was like with one of the guys or something, or she was like an old flame of Tony's or something.
Heavier blonde that got killed in her apartment?
She ran her own situation, and I can't remember what it was. Or she was the ex of one of the guys who'd been killed.
Okay.
So Tony always checked in with her. I think she was on for like 2 seasons, and then he had to kill her because she found out some stuff, and she kind of got in a situation where she had to give it up to
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, well, please. It's been around for a little while.
Oh, yeah.
I guess. But anyway, I had such a thing for her in the 80s because she's also in Modern Problems. She plays Chevy Chase's ex-wife in Modern Problems.
Oh, okay.
That's Patty D'Arbonville. And I had such a thing for her for a little while. And so I had forgotten completely that she was in this film in that opening. And I was like, yep, there it is. That bangs and that Aquanet hair. I'm the big thing. I'm all over it. I used to have such a thing for that stuff. So,
what age were you introduced to her? Or that look?
I say,
Teens?
Well, if I saw it when it came out, Real Genius, I would say 15 years old.
It's kind of a formative time.
Yep, that's when it started happening for me.
Yeah.
I thought she was hot in Modern Problems because she has that sex scene where he like screws her with his mind.
Yeah.
And I remember being very turned on by that when I saw it. So she put the hook in me early. But it's fun. I was wanting to have fun with the film, and I don't know what to tell you. I guess I can tell you is I didn't quite get there.
All right. I love it. I have watched it so many times in my life. I was excited that it won because I was like, all right, great. I haven't watched this, and I don't know the last time.
Yeah.
But I have it, digitally. I own a digital copy, so I can just pop that bad boy in whenever I want to. Just cue it right up. Watch it, no problem.
Well, but that also speaks to what we've talked about many times on this show. We're doing the show like over a year now. We talk about it all the time. It's subjective nature, right? For whatever reason, and I think it's because of the science stuff too. You're a mad nerd for this science shit. You are.
That didn't come until
know it really well, man. And you quote it on our show multiple times, and maybe that kind of
but my understanding of it is so fucking infantile.
Well, in your
ridiculous.
mind, rudimentary, but you understand way more than I do. So
but it's just cursorily like reading stuff. I'm like, oh, I had never thought about that, and here's 10 ideas of that, and they're all completely different iterations of what it could be. So nobody really has an idea, and you're like, oh, that's baffling. So we don't know that, and that seems like something we should know. Right. That seems like, but there's a million questions. There's so many rabbit holes to fall down.
Of course.
That sometimes it's a little bit much.
Yeah, but you have a desire to go down those rabbit holes. I see those rabbit holes, and I go, fuck that shit. I'm not going there. I walk away.
That's the magic of life. Like, why does something do this? Oh, well, because at this state, it does this, and this, and because of that. No, why it does this, we don't know yet.
Right.
and you're like, wow, that's really fascinating.
See, my exploration, my interest is more about if I see the rabbit holes of exploring human thought process, why do this, why do that, why did he make that decision at that time in that situation, blah blah blah. I go down those rabbit holes like crazy all the time. That's where I go. You start talking about isotopes, I become stupid and glassy eyed and walk away from you. I have no idea.
Yeah,
I was never good with science.
Until I had I found a couple good resources that helped break down some fundamental things, so I could at least understand certain substructures.
Right.
So like, okay, I can see how you arrive at it. I don't know exactly all the ins and outs, but I follow down the why this leads to this.
Right.
So it's just a matter of finding, like, it was just, a couple good, teachers, I guess, for lack of a better way to say it.
But my point is, Matt, you have an inherent desire to find out.
True.
That's the difference.
Well,
I do not. I don't care how anything works.
I think the true ones that do actually follow that and made it a career path, and that's what they spend doing their lives.
Right.
Yeah,
True.
That's a true passion.
That's true.
I find it interesting, and every once and again, I will be up at 2 a.m. and I'll read an hour's worth of articles on whatever I can find.
Wow.
I'm up
Respect.
at that time anyway, yeah.
Yeah, right.
So,
yeah.
Fuck it.
All right. Well, any last things you want to say about the film? This is what
No, I love it. I can't believe it won.
Yeah, me too.
I was blown away.
I was really hoping to talk about Better Off Dead. I love that movie.
Thank you so much to everybody that voted.
Absolutely. You've made Matt's day.
Yeah. Listen in to tomorrow's show.
Tomorrow's show. Very important show.
We'll have an announcement
Very
on
big
tomorrow's show.
Yes.
So I guess really we can talk about that later.
Yeah.
But thanks for listening. Thank you so much for voting. If you want to vote in future Thunderdomes, just go to our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/the top 10 with the number podcast. And then if you want to email the show, it's top10podcast@gmail.com. And that is all spelled out, top 10 podcast, no numbers. Johnny?
Yes, absolutely. Please always follow us on Twitter at Top 10 Show, on Instagram at Top 10 Podcast. Follow me at The Roca Says. Follow Matt at Matt Nost. And yeah, keep the comments coming on YouTube. Keep the comments coming on iTunes. For now, we'll have our big announcement, probably the full big announcement
is tomorrow.
Next week. But tomorrow is our announcement it's kind of the precursor to the big announcement.
To an announcement.
Yeah, it's right. That's right.
It's a pre-engagement ring.
Yeah,
it's a promise
exactly.
ring.
It's a
we
promise ring.
that we'll be giving some sort of announcement tomorrow.
Absolutely.
That's what I was trying to dance around before,
really
and I was
were.
like, I don't want to. Okay,
Yeah.
It doesn't even fucking matter.
Yeah.
It's just not like, it's the end of the episode. So at this point, you're already pot committed. You've listened this far.
You have.
So fuck it.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter if
exactly.
we're wasting your time
We're
now.
just hanging you on now.
Exactly. Now you're just wasting time at work, and
really
we're just
are.
helping you waste time at work. So you're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome. We're happy to do it.
Hope you enjoy the distraction.
Exactly.
Well, thanks everybody for listening, man.